Hi everyone, this is Cyber here. I'm here today to bring you a new video about Halloween the game. Yes, it's real. It dropped today on Future Game Show at Gamecom. Was flabbergasted that it dropped out of nowhere, but it is exciting news. It is being made by Illuphonic and produced, well, also back help from Gun Media, also Topless Games, a Future Front. Let's talk to the synopsis of what the game is, and then we'll talk about what some of the developers has said in some interviews with IGN and some other outlets. And I'll show you some gameplay in the background. I tried to upload a short earlier, but it didn't work. I'm sorry for the late video. I was at work, so I'm bringing all the news as fast as I can, and also try to keep this as short as possible. So let's get with the information. So about this game, it's Halloween night, 1978. Unsuspecting families of the quiet suburban town of Haddonfield are making holiday preparations, and evil has made its way home. Take the shape of evil as Michael Myers, or save your neighbor as a hero of Haddonfield in Halloween, the ultimate asymmetrical horror sandbox. As Michael players wear the mask, become the boogeyman, stalk innocent residents with reckless deception. Utilizing a nightmarish range of abilities, Michael leverages shadow and stealth to satisfy his bloodthirst. This doesn't mean Haddonfield is going down without a fight. Frightened town folks will call the local authorities, even fight back when threatened. Instead of Michael to avoid detection, and for the first time ever, fans of the transformative original film will have the option to witness the haunting native events surrounding the night he came home for the eyes of Michael Myers in a standalone single-player story mode. As a hero of Haddonfield, it's your job to alert the residents of Haddonfield and implying the evil and helping them escape before falling victim to Michael's unyielding pursuit. A dramatic and ever-changing 1 versus 4 asymmetrical multiplayer match. Hero players must arm themselves with unkillable everyday household items, weapons, and knowledge to combat an unpredictable and unkillable enemy, which means Michael's not be able to be killed at all. Conveying town folks and contacted police will lead to this incredible, powerful, and through neighborhood patrol. To even the odds, you can command and equip NPCs with weapons to outsmart or even outpower the shape. Providing previous windows for escape, this massive horror sandbox is powered by Unreal 5, deliver engaging and dramatic gameplay systems, lifelike NPCs, haunting realistic visuals, cinematic quality lighting, and endless scares for you and your friends. Asymmetrical horror come home in Halloween. So yeah, it sounds pretty cool. I'm excited about the single player, and I think the multiplayer could be fun. My problems, we'll talk about my problems, my thoughts, and everything at the end after we get all the news. So, IGN did an interview. Yes, like I said, it's being made by Illuphonic, but they are publishing with Gun Media. And John Carper and Compass International Pictures, which produced the original film, are working on the single player aspect. So, we read the synopsis. The first question they asked is, people know Illuphonic for their multiplayer horror experience. Why was having a single player mode for Halloween important for you? It definitely is because the game that we've done, this is our 5th run around with a multiplayer only game. But in the past, in my previous job, anytime that a multiplayer only game gets a release, especially if it has a very strong fan base, it's just a fact that some people don't play multiplayer games. And we're learning in the past, in Ghostbusters, we added the ability to play by yourself and better AI. Hardcore Ghostbuster fans were able to come in, play the game, get a great experience, and then they got the skills, and then they saw the multiplayer button, and then they came in, and it's really cool because I know that people that were like, I came in for Ghostbusters, but now I'm a multiplayer fan, and now I'm playing multiplayer games. Because I don't think that is this day and age that we are getting this massive, cool, and exciting IPs, but if there's isn't a multiplayer experience, there isn't a single player experience. I do think that people don't get those itches scratched, and so year after year, each one of our Illuphonic games is a massive process where we look at the last project and try to do better. And so with this, it's very important, especially with being Halloween, we brought in the spirits for people that don't play hardcore multiplayer games. International multiplayer games can be a little bit more hardcore too. The stress of being a killer versus a bunch of bullies can be pretty daunting. No shit, sorry. So we really wanted to make a way that people can play a single player game and get a bit of a story, get deeper into the universe. And so it was very, very important that why we not only ramped up the development team, really put it in the majority effort of getting some really awesome AI engine. They needed that because their AI is kind of stupid, but mostly bringing on Polaroid to help out with their skills and their abilities. So I think it's going to be a really cool experience to have the total package value of a popular IP. Hopefully their AI is not stupid as hell, hopefully, because Friday the 13th was really bad, and Killer Clowns, they're a little bit better, but they're still not the smartest. How will the single player mode actually work? You mentioned story. How exclusive will it be? Well, so we can't really talk that much about it because that's definitely a different phase. But we were working with John. We were working with Malik Ahmed, the president of Compass International Pictures. We got some really great writers that we're working on with bringing the world to it. It will crisscross the film a lot. When we take AIP, we really, really have to be a fan of it. We turn down IPs more than we chase IPs. We know this film like the back of our hands, and so there's a lot of things that we think that they were never seen in the film. We'll get a great experience, but if you've seen the film, you'll see those really cool moments that you've seen for decades. If you're a fan, you just know who Michael Myers is, and you bet a couple of newer films that'll be cool. But I think it's fun for people that really to be able to really connect with the OG film. How'd you decide to focus on the original film? Why was it important for you? And how involved has John Carpenter been in the process? Listen, I've definitely said we need to make sure John is happening multiple times. John Carpenter put it out generally some of my favorite films, like my top 5 films. He's put out such amazing films that we just getting to work with him. It's like The Predator, or being able to work with Dan Aykroyd or Ivan Reitman with Ghostbusters. We used to do that. We used to like people. This is their baby. This is their thing. We're playing in their sandbox. But I do generally feel that we need to leave some. I cannot talk today. I apologize. I do not generally feel that we leave to make some really cool stuff that we're very happy about. Malik is in his birthright. His father was one of them that produced this. He has been working on with Halloween since he was a child, and so him and John are really the efforts where when we come up with a crazy idea, we have to come and present it, and we have to explain it, and most likely give them a couple of days to unpack it, and then come back and get more of the questions. So that way I see it is by working with these guys and proving it to those guys that we were doing it right. I think that it should be mean that anyone who's a fan should also be happy with what we're doing, because with a video game, we have to add systems, we have to add gameplay, we have to make sense of the scene that's in the film you like. Okay, that's a cool scene, but in the game, you don't cut the camera. You don't have a way to just go like, okay, other location cut. We're trying to explain things, and I generally feel some of the systems that we're going to talk about when we start going heavy with the gameplay, I think the people will definitely go like, oh wow, that explains some major components in the franchise. And when we presented it, people have been very happy with it, which is a good sign. Honestly, something that we'll talk about in the future is extremely happy we figured it out, because it's changing the way that you look at Michael Myers. It's been very cool. It's always stressful coming and saying, hey, this is a wild idea. Honestly, the way that we see us as a bunch of kids in 1978, I was 2. Jordan was still floating around. And the person that says, okay, in the 70s, we did this. Phones had cables connected to the wall. So it's been one of those really weird things where by choosing the area, it's so far away, technology has gone so far, it's like playing, I don't want to say it's as bad as Red Dead, but definitely like playing something that a lot of kids won't understand. Alright, so the other person, Jordan, in the pursuit form of Halloween, it started out of the title concept. It's been wonderful not only going towards that period piece mentally of making the neat 70s American towns, but we see in the movie itself, the reason it's kind of glitz in its horrifying events is that such a claim and normal assumed town that would expect that there being this mass killer on the loose. So it gave us a real good ground function to lay down everything that we wanted in play space on top of being in that area. It gives us just a lot of good things to work off of and keep it very focused on what Halloween is as a whole. It's been really fun going down the path and focus on the movie. You can't just make a phone call outside to help save you. Where at any moment during the development, we had to explain to younger staff that things worked back then. One's pretty tame in getting a hold of the police back then. We have 911 now, which is an understanding of how to get a hold of an emergency, but it's not quite the same back then. It wasn't developed like this. So we have to do a lot of technology understanding Saints to make sure everyone is very well aware of what existed back then. We do have some research to just how the technology would flow into Illinois section of the county. The idea of the landlines, phone cords, and that kind of thing. The way that you dial is not always buttons. Sometimes it's a rotary. So it's much fun of a fun conversation that we always explore back and forth the different things. And then from there, it's like, do we make the gameplay mechanic because that we can be fun, or we're thinking we're trying to set it in place and not make that a hassle? Actually make it a mechanic. Does Halloween have a canon? Does it factor into what you're making, what you're doing? Do you have obey any rules? Yes, there's a lot of rules that are set that we don't talk about that have been there since the beginning. But there's a lot of elements where we really try to use the film as canon. We're pulling as many frames as we can. That definitely contains points and canvas points that we'll have to go like, well, the gameplay, so it's not one-on-one, but it's pretty much like these are the elements. There's a factor that we have to pull in, but really it's about Michael's Halloween night, like him going out. You're not stalking Laurie in the day, and you're not doing boring stuff. You're going to that, okay, this is what we're doing. This wasn't about him. Those are the big things that we're really trying to push. It's very difficult, but we have done a lot of paths, and honestly the great part is when we have to push out that wall and break out the box. Have you had any fun situation where someone has had to point out that it would actually be like this at this point, who are custodians of Halloween lore? Yeah, Meek and Ryan of Terrace's films are actually, they've been very vigilant and been really great at adding authenticity. The mask is probably the best. We had to capture the mask in the highest possible fidelity, looking at the original molds, looking at the original mask, and then E-grade. It's not like someone put it in and made it exactly the same, but the turnaround on making just Michael's mask has been they're probably the greatest thing to go like, okay, you guys spend a lot of effort, and that was the key thing, because that's when you get a screenshot of the vendor. There've been a lot of Michael Myers out there, and a lot of other games. They've been made by top tier artists, but it was part of like, okay, we're doing all these other things. You put a laser beam on that mask, every wrinkle, every crack, finding out exactly how it happened. Talking to them like, hey, in this shot, it's like this. In this shot, it's like that. And then like, yeah, because he took the mask off in between when he pulled it down, it's kind of folded a little bit. The hair is a little bit different. So that's been the thing. We've been really trying to cut our teeth with them. Like I said, we're in their sandbox, so we have to adhere to it. And we've been very understanding and very flexible for what we need to do. So they're really trying to get it nailed down to the part where like details of the mask and like, oh, you got a punch here, you got shot here, this and that kind of stuff, trying to get all that detail of telling a story. That's pretty cool. It's a lot of details. All right, so Bloody Disgusting also dropped another one talking about it. Let's just see what they say here. Give me 1 second, I'll read over it and I'll get back to you. So that article really didn't say anything new, but it did also drop a picture of Loomis. Dr. Loomis. He's in the game. He's probably a hero character, kind of like If you call it cops, he shows up too. His model looks great in it picture. I will post it up and stuff. That's pretty much all the news. So I'm going to talk about my thoughts. So you guys know my thoughts on gun media. They are not making the game. They are just help push it out there, helping with funds, that kind of stuff. Yes, it still bothers me a little bit. I don't hate gun. I just hate the way they do things sometimes, and they have messed up too many times. Infinite has had some good things. Like, I really enjoyed Ghostbusters. Predator, not so much. Not Tessus. Killer Clowns, I like it, but the support for the game, it has not been that great. There's not that many maps. It's kind of lackluster. It's nothing really going on with it. And they kind of half-assed Killer Clowns. They took the idea that was great and they shrunk it down to an easier formula. And yeah, I hope they don't do that. It seems kind of like they're not doing that. And also, of course, Halloween, you're on a street, so it's probably not going to be that huge. But I'm just hoping the game does good. I'm going to give it a chance because, well, I'm a content creator for one, and two, I need something new to play. Killer Clowns is just not doing it for me. There's other games I will cover, that kind of stuff. Am I worried about the game? Yes, I'm always worried on it. I'm going to keep an eye on, keep bringing you guys news. I like the single player. That's probably what I'm mostly excited about. The multiplayer, it could be good. I always liked a stealth-based game. That's what Fear the Reaper pretty much is. It's all about stealth and giving jump scares. You can pop out of closets and that kind of stuff in Fear the Reaper. And there's probably going to be moments like that with Halloween. I'm excited to play both games. I hope they both nail it out of the park. But I'm more worried about Halloween because it's a big IP, and I hope Elphonic can nail it out of the park. But with Killer Clowns, they kind of hurt me a little bit, but I'm not mad at them. I think they've done somewhat decent job with a lot of the IPs they do have. So I have some good stuff with Elphonic. Gun Media, not so much, but I think they did good with gameplay-wise for Tessus, but they didn't, like, promoting, they did a good job, but, like, it's the meta they really messed up. So hopefully the meta's not too messed up in this, but I don't want to keep rambling on, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any questions, I will try to answer the best I can. There's not really any gameplay out there besides the reveal trailer. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video, and make sure you leave a like, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Thank you for checking out this video. Make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe.